Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of Curious Creatures Drawing Workshop. So our prompts for this episode has come in from Danny from Adelaide in Australia, and we are going to be creating a creature based on a dolphin, a rhino, and a wolf with 3 legs, 4 eyes, pointy ears, that lives in a jungle and breathes fire. So let's have a quick look at some references. So up the top we have our photos of a dolphin, and I've chosen to use a bottlenose dolphin as our reference images. And then we have our rhino, and I have picked a black rhino. And then we have our wolf down the bottom. And as ever, you guys can pick your own subspecies if you want, but this is just something to get started with. Alrighty, so let's get your pencils and we'll get drawing. So, as always, we are going to start with the head. Now, I'm thinking that I might base the head a bit on a rhino and a dolphin, sort of a hybrid head like that. So, a rhino's head is quite long. And then the dolphin has this beautiful sort of extra, I think we call it a beak. I'm going to have a beak there. So I'm just going to expand this out like this. So I'm thinking maybe I'm going to have our character, our creature, sort of smiling or having its mouth open. It is meant to be breathing fire, so maybe we're going to do this. Okay, so that's something just to start with as a bit of a shape of the head. And now we're going to go into the body. Now I'm thinking maybe for the body we're going to hybrid the rhino and the wolf. So I'm not sure yet whether or not I want to add fur or whether we're going to keep it more of the skin that a rhino has, but we'll see how we go. So next what I want to do is to create the spine. So just like a spine about that big. And we only have 3 legs. So what I'm thinking is that we will have 2 legs at the front. So I'm just going to draw the indicators of our legs like this. And maybe we're running. Maybe our creature's running. So let's do that. And then I'm going to show just a small indication of the leg behind. So again, we're going to go from the shoulder to the elbow, and maybe we're running. Something like that. And then our back leg. Our back leg. What are we going to do for our back leg? It's a tricky one, guys. 3 legs. Well, maybe we're only going to have, maybe it hops. Maybe it's sort of a hopping leg. I don't know. So let's maybe base this one more on a rhino. So it's got a very big, bulky back leg with lots of muscles to help it hop along. Maybe it's a hopping character. Who knows? And we're going to draw maybe a big foot back here. So make up for the fact it only has 1. And let's give it a bit of a tail. So maybe we're going to go for a wolf tail. Something like, it's going to a bit of extra body like that. There we go. And now we need to start fleshing out the structure of our character. So we're going to add on some muscles, curving around the top of our framework structure. I'm going to give nice big muscles onto that back leg. And then the front leg, I think we're still going to have a bit of muscles on that front leg section here as well, but maybe the forearm section is going to be a little bit leaner, more like a wolf leg. So very strong, very sinewy rather than being big and muscly. So something like that. And the body, let's do let's think. Well, it's given it quite a big head, so we're going to need to give it some strong muscles around the neck, and let's give it some body on the back. All right, so I'm just going to quickly clean up some of my lines, guys. Please keep your structural lines. They are so important, but I'm just going to lighten this off so that you can see what I'm drawing. All right. And we won't be able to see that one because it's behind the body. So now here's the fun part. We get to add in some detailing. So let's start with the eyes. Now, we've got this very interesting shaped head that we're going for, which I'm very excited about. It's very cool. It's very different. So let's maybe revise the shape a little bit. So a rhino kind of has a peak up here. Just going to clear that up. And we're going to come down into this sort of transition. We're going to call it a transition space between perhaps the skull and then the jaw. And of course, if we're basing this on a rhino, we need some rhino horns. So let's absolutely give some rhino horns here on the nose. So we're just going to do something like that. And the black rhino has two horns. It's got a very big one here, and then it has a smaller one just a little bit further up on the skull. All right. So it might be a little bit bigger than an actual rhino horn, but I like it. Let's go with it. Now we have 4 eyes, so I'm thinking we do 2 on each side. So because we're only seeing the profile of our creature, we'll only need to draw 2. And a rhino's eye actually sits down here, quite below the horn. So let's add that in. Let's go 1 and then maybe 2 next to it. Yeah. So if you want to draw maybe the eye above or further over on the skull, you're more than welcome to do that. But we just want to give the idea that he's got 2 on each side. And now we're going to have pointy ears. So the ears, we're going to sit up here at the top of the skull, and we're going to make them nice and pointy. Now a wolf has beautiful pointy ears, so maybe we're just going to make them a bit larger than what we get on a wolf, but maybe we're going to keep it sort of in that same design. So maybe he's going to have lots of fur coming out of his ear. And then we're going to be able to see a bit of the ear on the other side. Yeah, kind of cool. All right, so that is part of our face. Now the nostrils. So a dolphin doesn't really have nostrils, obviously, because they have a blowhole on the back of their head. So rhinos have very, very big nostrils, and then wolves have that small nostril at the end of their nose. So let's do sort of a mid-size one here. And let's put in some teeth. So let's do some dolphin teeth. So dolphins have a row of very small but very sharp teeth because obviously they like to catch lots of fish. So just going to draw a row of teeth like this. And we'll put in the tongue. I know we've got to add in the fire breathing at some point, but for the moment we'll just add that in there. Now let's think about how this is all going to connect together. So something like that I think works quite well. Yeah, that's a cool looking creature so far. I'm quite happy with him. Now let's get to the arms. So let's bulk these up a little bit more. And let's give him on the feet. Let's give him some wolf paws. So going to give them the sort of this, going to go up at the ends and then come narrower as we head back to the wrist. And that's kind of how wolf paws go. They kind of go up like that and then back down. Very, very cool paws. All right. And at the back here, I'm thinking it's going to be more, as I said, a rhino foot. So maybe we'll have a hybrid foot. So the rhino is going to have a bit more of a sort of a curvy foot, a bit sort of like you can see some of the elephant's feet. But I think we're still going to put like little claws on there as well. So it's going to be that sort of hybrid shape. And the tail, well, let's refine this shape a little bit more as well. So at this point, we're going to have to decide what we want to do in relation to fur. So obviously the tail is furry because we're going to use a wolf's tail. So we need to decide if the rest of him is furry or if he's covered more in skin like the rhino and the dolphin. So maybe he's got a coat of fur along the back of him. And then his arms and his legs and his face is more skin. So we're going to want to show sort of a merging of that. So let's draw a bit of, maybe there's a bit of fur on the top of his legs like that. And the same with the arm, almost like he's wearing very, very furry t-shirts and shorts. Let's do that. And let's put some fur on his back. You can see that. And fur on the stomach, guys. You reckon fur on the stomach? Let's give him a nice furry chest. Something like that, nice. And then maybe up here in the head, as we transition onto the neck, maybe there's a little bit of fur, but it's a little bit lighter, a bit smaller fur patches. And then we're going to go, and maybe fur on the ears, and then we're going to go more into skin. So maybe think about, maybe we can draw some skin wrinkles where we might do it. And maybe think if you want to add a pattern in. So he could have scales or could have, yeah, just different wrinkles. So think about some of the different patterns you can draw. So I'm just going to draw, not quite sure what this pattern is, but I'm just going to draw some of this just to show that it's a different texture. So you can have a play with whatever you want, or you can make him entirely furry. It's completely up to you. And I'm going to draw the same on a bit of the arms and the leg. Now, of course, I've just realized I've really made that leg look like there should be two. So let's revise that a little bit. Sorry, guys, I know you've probably already drawn your fur, but you can keep yours as it is. I'm just going to draw it a bit more like that, so it looks a bit more centered. Yeah, there we go. something like that. And then I'll draw a little bit of those detailings on the leg as well. Now, we live in a jungle and we breathe fire. So I am actually just a little bit going to shrink him down just a bit. And we're going to breathe fire. So let's put some fire. So think about how we want the fire to come out. Maybe there's little bits of extra fire kind of coming off of the main flame, kind of bursting around like that. And he lives in a jungle. So let's put in a bit of a ground plane. So I'm just going to put a little bit in here. And let's think about what we find in a jungle. So maybe we find lots of vines hanging down from trees. So let's add in some vines. Some beautiful vines. I'm going to crisscross each other, go in front and behind each other. A bit like that, and I'm going to draw one more here. And then maybe a whole bunch of leaves coming off of it. So maybe it's going to be a vine that has leaves. Plants growing off of it. You can add in whatever you want. Think about other things that might be in the jungle. Maybe think about what he's breathing fire on. Is he just breathing fire because he wants to breathe fire? Is he trying to catch his dinner? So think about maybe what does he eat? And so just have a play with some of those ideas. And I think what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow on him. Just there, just so we can see, one big foot there. Maybe a little shadow for his arms, showing that, except one's arm is up there, showing that we've got the arms doing that. And maybe just a bit of a shadow there for the body. Something like that, yeah. So have a think, guys. Think about all the different types of things that you could put on here. I'm thinking maybe I'll add a little bit of a bird up here, maybe. Do something like that. Yeah, have a think about all the different types of things that you might want to add into your drawing to give it an idea of where you are and what you're seeing and what you're doing. And have some fun. Have some fun. Maybe do some research on the type of creatures that live in jungles and the different types of jungles. There's lots of different types of jungles around the world. So maybe have a think about where you want your creature specifically to live. So we're going to leave it there, guys. So have a go and see what you come up with. I can't wait to see what you create.